Hey there everyone, so yes, it might be a cold January, but I'll tell you one thing now, things are going to warm up with this week's review of the Honda Civic Type R. What a way to start 2019. Hot hatchbacks are widely regarded as being the best pound-for-pound performance cars you can buy currently on the market. And that's because they follow the 3 Ps. Price, practicality and performance, and have a great combination of the 3. However, with this current generation of hot hatches, I'm going to add a 4th P on there, and that's personality. The reason being is you can buy a hot hatch now from the incredibly inexpensive but incredibly fun Volkswagen Up GTI all the way up to the ludicrously fast but very expensive Audi RS3 Sportback. However, I have got arguably the best hot hatch you can currently buy on the market, and that is Honda's Civic Type R. It's got a 2-litre VTEC engine with a turbo in there, of course, producing 316 brake horsepower. That's mated to a wonderful 6-speed manual gearbox. Of course, you're going to know it's not going to be an automatic, and of course it's all going to be put through the front wheels, thanks to lots of magic technical stuff that I really don't understand. But enough of me waffling on. I think it's time for me to show you what this car is all about, starting with the styling. When it comes to styling your hot hatch, there's 3 ways you can go about it. You can make the car look ultra conservative, so only avid petrol heads know about the power that's lying within, like a car such as the Volkswagen Golf R. You can go a little bit up in the middle, where you've got a car that looks quite conservative but sporty at the same time, like the new Renault Megane RS or even the Hyundai i30N. Or finally, you can go all out and make your car look as mad as a bag of cats with Honda's Civic Type R. And I gotta say, this is arguably the best looking hot hatch out there, but click in the top right hand corner if you agree with me. I love all the vents, I love all the wings, and I love everything about it that's designed for aerodynamics. I love the fact it's got these flared arches and it looks like a touring car. So it doesn't look like just a mad hatchback, it looks like a race car for the road. And that's one of the reasons I absolutely love the Type R, and it'll always get a second glance whenever I see one. I also love the fact that this car comes in Sonic Grey, which I did actually think was a matte colour, kind of like Audi's Nardo Grey. But if you look at it close up, it's actually pearlescent, and there's kind of a weird purpley tint to it, which in the sunlight you can definitely see. I will say though, the sunlight's disappearing on us, so we quickly better get inside and have a look at the interior and then take it for a drive. Well everyone, I don't know how it happened, but I somehow lost all the audio from my interior shots of the Civic Type R, so I'm going to quickly breeze over them, then we'll look at the boot and then we'll get driving. So the quality of the Civic Type R has taken a big step upwards over its predecessor. There's soft touch plastics on top of the dash and the doors, but there are hard touch plastics elsewhere throughout the cabin. Driving position is absolutely spot on, it even holds a big bear like myself in place. However, if you are a little bit bigger, you might feel your kidneys getting a bit of a pinch, but the driving position is spot on. You've also got that brilliant aluminium gear knob, however in cold mornings it does feel horrible to touch, so I do recommend a tea cozy. The infotainment system is very poor on the Civic Type R, arguably one of the worst in class, and you've got cars like the Volkswagen Golf R which just feels so much more premium because of it. In the back seats we got plenty of room, and if you're over 6 foot tall though, you might struggle for headroom because of that sloping roofline, but you do get ISOFIX supports on the outer sides of the seats. And I will mention actually you do lose the magic seats that you got off the predecessor if you wanted any additional storage space. But there you go, that pretty much concludes the inside of the Type R. Let's have a little look at the boot and then get driving. So opening the boot of the Civic Type R, and you're greeted with 420 litres of space, which is nearly class best. It is second best, however, to the Skoda Octavia VRS. However, the VRS can't really compete performance-wise in this class. And with that boot, you've got a very wide opening, and there's a lot of space to use. In terms of negatives, you have got a bit of a load lip here, and there is a slight slant at the far end of the boot. So if you put items in, such as suitcases, you do find that the handle will kind of push into that load lip. So it can make it a little bit of a struggle when lifting it out on the other end of your journey. But other than that, you have got tethering hooks as standard, as well as a 12-volt socket. But I will mention, this is probably the highlight. This is the parcel shelf. There you go. 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 That's it. No storing it underneath the boot floor, no leaving it in the garage. That's it. This is personally a very ingenious design. I know I'm saying something about a parcel shelf on a hot hatch, but still, that's brilliant. And well done, Honda. That's very, very inventive of you. So well done. It's a very practical car. But I know you guys don't care about practicality, do you? You want me to drive it. So I just want to mention before we shoot off that this is the GT version of the Civic Type R. There is a non-GT version you can get, but this one comes with a huge amount of standard equipment that you would usually find as an optional extra on something like a Volkswagen Golf R. And whilst we start up and drive off, you're going to see all those options going along the bottom of the screen. So let's see what 2 litres, VTEC, turbo, 316 brake horsepower sounds like. How was that? So as I mentioned, that's 316 brake horsepower through the front wheels with a 6-speed manual gearbox, and it feels really good. When the turbo kicks in, there's a huge pull from the car. The amount of torque that comes through is incredible, and it just keeps pulling. And when you've got a gearbox as sweet as this 6-speed manual, why would you want an automatic? Why would you want something that's just going to detract from that experience? Yes, I know automatics can change gears so quickly nowadays with all these dual clutch systems, but there's just such a wonderful feel to a good old-fashioned manual. The other thing you get with the Civic Type R, and it flatters me, I will say, and it's flattered people because I've not told them, is you get what they call a rev matching function. So what that means, I'm just going to do a little overtake here, I'm just on a dual carriageway, but what that means is when you want to downshift in a gear, it pretends that you're heel and toe it and will actually blip the throttle in order to allow you to change down a gear. So I'll give you an idea. I'm now in 6th gear, that's 5th, back up into 6th, nice, that's just instant. And anyone asks me, are you Dave, are you heel toeing? Of course I am. But you can turn that system off. If you are a professional driver, you can turn that off. However, I will leave that on forever because I haven't got the skill set at the moment to heel toe like a pro. If anyone out there wants to teach me, by all means get in touch. But I will say now, being on a dual carriageway doing 70 miles an hour, what I will do is put the car into comfort mode. Now, a big thing I need to say here is a thank you to the United States of America, because this is the first time that the Type R has come out in the USA, and one of the things that they would have wanted, definitely, and it has been included, is a comfort mode setting. And it works absolute wonders. If anything, this is more impressive than the car itself in terms of the performance, because I'm on a relatively even, flat, good bit of tarmac, and I would never have suspected I got 20-inch alloys. Yes, I'm bobbing around a little bit, but it's not uncomfortable. The dampers and the suspension just absorb the bumps and they ride really, really well. For everyday driving, you could live with a Type R every day, and that's something incredible, especially when you look at the car. You think this thing is going to break your back, it's going to make you just feel tired and horrid at the end of any journey, whether it be in popping down the shops for a pint of milk or doing a 400-mile journey with your partner and kids in the back seat. And this is something which has really boosted the Type R's appeal. And it means that it can be used every day, and it means if you're happy with the looks, you've got yourself a perfect all-rounder. If anything, the performance is one aspect of the car, but the comfort mode is as equal an aspect, because this is something that you'll be considering when you're driving the car. Now I will say I'm going over some divots there, and they did kind of resonate into the cabin, but again, it's not uncomfortable. I can hear them, but I couldn't feel them. So as I said, driving away in the Type R, it sets itself to sport mode. So what you have is that everything's set to kind of a default sport setting. You've got quite relatively heavy steering, but I wouldn't say it was enough to wrench your arms out. The suspension is firm but not overly uncomfortable, and as you can hear, you've got that wonderful exhaust note. Now I will say it's not as characterful as cars such as the Renault Megane RS or even the Hyundai i30N. Granted, there are artificial pops and bangs with the i30N, but there is a nice bit of character to it. This has just got a very raspy noise to it, and it does kind of sound like it's got a lot of power under the bonnet and that there's a lot of intention there. So now I'm in comfort mode. You still got that sound from the engine, that exhaust note, and it just spurs you on. And that's still, as I said, in comfort mode. So I'm now doing motorway speeds, and it's riding absolutely brilliantly. The one negative I will say, but that's because of the performance tyres, because of those 20-inch rims, is that if you do drive over a rough bit of road tarmac, you are going to experience a lot of road noise. It does very much intrude into the cabin. But if you can get past that, you're in for an absolute winner of a car. The steering in sport mode is incredibly direct and accurate. Even though it's got a bit of weight to it as well, it does mean you have to manhandle the car. But that's a nice sign to let you know that you've got a front-wheel drive car and you need to be in control of it. If you had something like a Golf R, yes, you've got the security of that 4Motion 4-wheel drive system. But on this is actually more exciting than a Golf R. I mean, granted, yes, it's not as exciting as a rear-wheel drive car, but then again, you'd have to up the price bracket in order to compete, and you'd be looking at cars like the BMW M140. Honda have done an absolute gem on this car, particularly with that performance through the front wheels, but making it usable every day. And at the same time, having a huge boot, lots of rear space, granted headroom is at a premium, and all the equipment that's on the car. I can see why people call this the best hot hatch you can buy. I have a feeling that if they tone down the looks, this could be a bit more of a popular car, because it's a little bit too in your face for some people. Hence they look at cars like the Golf R and they'd want to have that premium badge. But suffice to say though, with the Honda, you've got a car that looks absolutely mean as hell, is going to be reliable. Hondas are very dependable cars, and for £34,000 it's an awful lot of car for the money. It's a huge amount of car for the money and performance available. I absolutely love it, and Honda, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to give it back. I absolutely love this car. I'm not 100% sure about the colour though. I mean, I love the fact there's a pearlescent grey to it, but what do you guys think? Click up in the top right hand corner, let me know if you were going to buy a Type R, what colour would you have it in? So when the Type R has been compared to rivals, it's been compared to the likes of the Volkswagen Golf R and the Focus RS. Granted, that's now discontinued. And I've always felt that was slightly unfair to the Civic, because this is front wheel drive with a manual gearbox. There's only so much performance it can put down. With the Focus and the Golf R, they're four-wheel drive, and granted, with the Golf you can also get a DSG gearbox. So on paper at least, it does look like the Civic Type R is lagging behind, but when you drive it, it is in no way doing so. I actually think this is as comfortable, the seats actually feel more comfortable than a Golf R, and when it comes to driving on everyday roads, it is way more comfortable than a Ford Focus RS. This has got the balance absolutely right in terms of usability every day, and that comfort button is definitely the saviour for the car in terms of how it would be, especially compared to the previous generation Type R. That was just a mad a mad car there, and the fact it didn't have a comfort button meant that you had to have a spine made of titanium after doing a long journey in it, because it will rough you up a bit. And it does make me wonder, with the, you know, how the technology is going, how performance is moving forward, what is Honda going to do with the next generation Type R? Are they going to follow in the footsteps of Volkswagen and Ford and make a four-wheel drive version of this hot hatch? Are they going to move to a automatic gearbox, which I really hope they don't, because this is the best manual gearbox I've ever driven in. It is as sweet as a nut, and that rev match, oh, it flatters me so. I feel like a less talented, slightly fatter Matt Neal behind the wheel of this. I want to be driving this on Silverstone and chasing after other cars. Honda, if you got any track days coming up, please invite me. I want to drive this on a track. I can't drive this on normal roads, I can only do 70. I really want to see what these cars are really capable of. This has got a top speed of 167 miles an hour. You'll never achieve that in the UK. And going from the current climate, you're probably never going to achieve that on a public road. And I'm talking about Germany with their autobahns. And with that, I'm just kind of hoping that Honda kind of come up with something. I mean, they will do, but come up with something amazing for the next generation Type R. And it's got me thinking, what is there available to them? So yes, they could go to an automatic gearbox. They could make the car four-wheel drive, but something that they've done on another car, something a bit more powerful than the Type R, is using hybridization. Because I've driven a car that's very similar, it's in the Honda family. It's an Acura, and I drove one of those in the US last year, and the reason I was hugely impressed with it wasn't because of the engine that I had on the car. It was a 3.5 litre V6 VTEC. It was the fact that it had a hybridization system, and as I was told by the salesman, not like a Toyota Prius, but like a Honda NSX, or Acura NSX I should say. And what they meant by that is the hybrid system, the batteries, the power, fill in the torque gaps on the car. So when you put your foot down, you've got an instant response. You've got an instant torque hitting those wheels. So it does mean possibly that you could do the Type R as a four-wheel drive car and just have the two wheels that haven't got the power from the engine going to having that electric power going to them. So it is something to think about, and I was hugely impressed when I drove that Acura. So guys, as it gets a little bit darker and we can start to lose the light here in Milton Keynes, I want to say a huge thank you for watching the video, and please let me know what you think of my Honda Civic Type R review. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them down below. Don't forget to hit that like button, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and also the little bell notifications icon to let you know when I bring out a new video for AutoBears. Again, I'm also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. God, that grips really well. So again guys, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.